Hello, and welcome to your Coping with Anger workshop. I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. Okay, let's move this over here. Present. Okay, so Coping with Anger, this workshop is brought to you by Hope for Stomach Cancer, who is sponsoring these workshops. And of course, I am Hannah of Healing with Hannah, and I am here to guide you through our workshop today. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone who's watching the recording as a disclaimer that this is not medical advice. This is mental health awareness and education. And if you are feeling triggered in a depressive state, if you are dealing with anger and you're not able to control your anger, then I highly suggest reaching out to your medical professional so they can point you in the right direction, whether that's working with a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a healer, a coach, whatever it might be. So just keep that in mind as we go through today, that everything is a suggestion. So again, welcome. I am Hannah. I am a divine healer. I am a spiritual life coach and a yoga teacher. But beyond my titles, I am also a chronic disease warrior. So as someone who's lived with chronic disease for pretty much their whole life, I felt as if I wasn't supported on my mental health and wellness journey, not taught proper self-care practices, not ever really checked in with by my medical professionals on how I was doing with my stress management, how my anxiety was, how my anger was, and none of that. So when I had this opportunity to create these sessions for Hope for Stomach Cancer and start this virtual mental health and wellness program, I was truly excited and beside myself with joy, because it meant that I could bring these teachings to all of you. And of course, mental health is so important for our healing journeys. And you'll notice that I talk a lot about the central nervous system when it comes to our healing and the vagus nerve, because I do work from the polyvagal theory, which was founded by Dr. Stephen Porges. And, I take some teachings from Dr. Peter Levine and Dr. Gabor Mate, and all of these professionals are people who work in the psychiatry field, who understand the importance that the body has when it comes to our healing, that it's not just the mind. So I just want to make note of that as we go forward, as I might kind of talk about, you might hear me say the word central nervous system and vagus nerve approach, and I just want to inform you of that. So first is anger, right? Anger is an emotion that can range from irritation to rage. Those are different forms of anger. And as much as we think that anger is a negative emotion and something often a lot of us suppress, because in our childhoods we weren't given permission to be angry, and if your parents let you or your caregivers let you have temper tantrums, amazing, because it meant that you were processing that anger. So anger is actually a very important emotion, because there are positives to expressing our anger, and we're going to get into that. Because when we don't express our anger, it can turn into aggressive behavior, it can turn into rage, and it actually can even turn into health problems. If you have not read the book When the Body Says No by Dr. Gabor Mate, I highly, highly, highly suggest reading it. I could recommend many, many books that would kind of go deeper into this. So you can always reach out to me through the Hope for Stomach Cancer website if you want to know more. But I would start with that because Dr. Gabor Mate really does go into details about how our emotions manifest on a physiological level, and that can turn into illness and disease. And that is something I've actually experienced in my own personal life with my liver disease, as anger lives in the liver in traditional Chinese medicine. So there's some symptoms of anger, and I kind of like to see these as our warning signs to let us know when we're going into that emotion, so we can regulate ourselves. So some physical symptoms can be sweating, headaches, pacing, raised voice, feeling hot or clammy, clenching your fists, aggressive body language like leaning forward, kind of feeling like you're almost going into fight mode, right? Like you have to fight the person, feeling sick to your stomach. It can be breathing faster, right? You're breathing really shallowly, not shallowy from your chest. Your heart might be pounding. Maybe you're tensing your shoulders or your jaw. And some emotional mental symptoms can be, starting to say verbal insults, becoming really argumentative, maybe shutting down or not speaking at all, or having trouble concentrating on anything else but what is causing you this anger. So I wanted to just touch on that so you have an idea of how to recognize when you're in an anger state, because that will help with anger management. So first and foremost, when it comes to anger management, identifying your triggers is so imperative. And we're going to do some journal prompts today, and I'll make sure to give you time to write them down, or you have access to this recording so you can go back anytime you need. But it's really important to know what triggers are and ask yourself, when do I lose my temper? What situations make me angry? Like I said, this isn't about placing blame. This is just kind of to help you understand so you can plan accordingly, right? We're not always going to know what sets us off or makes us angry, but usually there's a pattern. And so when you start to recognize the pattern, you can take action steps. And so the first and very, utmost important thing to do is to identify your triggers. So I want you to take out your journal or your piece of paper, or your pen, your pencil, whatever you have. And if you don't, this is the time to grab. And I want you to just reflect for about a minute or so on what your triggers might be. Maybe think of a recent situation that caused you to get angry. It could be someone cutting you off in traffic. It could be you and your partner getting in a fight. Maybe you don't feel like your partner was listening to you. Maybe your kids set you off. Maybe they did something that made you angry. Reflect on this situation and ask yourself those two questions. When do I lose my temper? What situations make me angry? And just make a note now in your notebook. Again, this isn't to place blame on yourself or any other person. This is just to identify. So I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, so I'm going to keep going, but I want you to keep reflecting as I continue to talk, just so you have some identifiers in your notebook for when we get to our journal prompts. This will help. So again, recognizing your warning signs. Like I said, there are those warning signs, those symptoms of anger that show up in the body, physically, mentally, and emotionally, but we're all going to have different warning signs. So this, like I said, could include your heart racing. This could be you feeling hot, maybe your face kind of getting flushed, maybe you're clenching your fists, maybe your mind is racing, maybe you're really thinking pessimistically, like you're really thinking about the negatives. So, and then of course, any of the other symptoms that I mentioned earlier. So again, in your notebook right now, I want you to just jot down a few warning signs that you can recognize in yourself when you get angry, using that situation that was brought up in that last prompt to identify your triggers, what you're reflecting on, as a way to help you kind of think back and be like, okay, how did I get angry in that moment? Okay, what happened? Maybe your stomach, you start to feel a bit sick to your stomach. Maybe all you could think about was the situation that made you angry. Maybe it made you kind of lose some sleep. Maybe you felt like you were suffering from a bit of insomnia from it, or you were having trouble falling asleep, right? It's going to show up different for all of us, but you'll know your body best. So write that down and just write, my warning signs, and then just jot down a couple. It doesn't have to be a long list, 3 to 5 warning signs. If you can come up with that many, is perfect. Another great one when we're working with anger and working to manage our anger is stepping away. So if you can step away from the situation, do your best to do so, because this is an opportunity for you to take a break so you don't get overwhelmed, and maybe say or do something that you might regret. So taking a break is like a very simple way to calm your body and to calm your mind. So there is not just a benefit of when you take a step away, it's not just benefiting you, it's actually benefiting the other party as well. So when you are in a situation that has made you angry, whether it's with a coworker, a partner, your child, a friend, a family member, just let that person know, hey, I'm feeling a little bit angry about what's coming up. I need to take some time to cool off. I need to take some time to myself to calm down. Can we speak about this in a few hours? Can we speak about this tomorrow? Can we speak about this over the weekend? Set a time so that other person knows that you are going to be accountable to working through this issue, this problem, this challenge, this disruption, whatever it was that caused you to get angry. And this also actually gives the other person a chance to cool down, because most likely if you're angry, with somebody, they're probably feeling a bit of anger themselves too, or maybe your anger triggers anger in them. That can totally happen. So this again holds not just you accountable, but also holds the other person accountable. And if someone gets angry at you, you're allowed to do this as well. You're allowed to say, I'm not really feeling like this is the right time to talk about this. I'm feeling really activated. That's a good word to use. Do you mind if we both take some time to ourselves and we can regroup in a few days, or whenever you decide that is best for both of you? And if you don't have any idea like when it's going to work, say, I'll message you tomorrow. I'll give you a call tomorrow and we can talk about when would be a good time for both of us to address the situation. Okay, so something to think about. It's something that I do not only with my partner, with family members, with friends, with coworkers. I just find it to be so helpful to just step away. Because again, when we're overwhelmed with anger, we're not always in our right state of mind, because the anger kind of causes this cloud. So you don't want to say something or do something that you might regret. A wonderful way to work through anger is actually to move your body. So anger gives us all this pent up energy. It also causes, similar to stress, stress hormones in the body to be activated, so that our body gets overwhelmed with cortisol. And we really want to balance that out and be able to decrease the cortisol and increase our endorphins. So a really good thing to do is to move the body. So that could be as simple as going for a walk around the block. Maybe a situation happens when you're at work and you can't go home, right? You have to see this coworker for the rest of the day, or it's your boss or whatever. Well, maybe then just going outside, taking a 10-minute break, going for a walk around the block, getting some fresh air, looking at the sky, seeing trees, being in nature, really helps to calm us down. So it's a really, really doable practice in the moment. You could go to the gym and get your sweat on. You could do a workout class, like a HIIT class, or body sculpt, or whatever is your jam, a spin class, right? There's so many options. You can practice yoga. You can have a solo dance party, right? Sometimes the best way to move energy out of our body is actually like ecstatic dancing, or like primal dancing. And that's when you put on a song and you just let your body move the way it wants to move. Often when we do this, if we just let our mind go, we let our bodies really show us what it needs, we will really get into this almost animalistic type movements where we're thrashing our arms and we're, moving our head and shaking our hair and whatever the case may be. But that's you moving that energy out of your body. And dancing is very primalistic, right? As human beings, we've been dancing since the dawn of time. So it's such a wonderful way to show our reptilian brain, which is our, the brain parts of our brain that manage even our stress levels, that we are safe and that we can release. Yes, I was like, I think that says explore your feelings, but I wanted to make sure. I was like, does it identify feelings, explore your feelings? Yeah, so when we are feeling angry, often there is a more what could be considered a more painful emotion underneath the anger. Anger is kind of like a mask, okay? Anger isn't the root of what we're feeling. Anger is like the flower. We got to get down to the root so we can pull it out from the root and we don't have it affect us anymore. If you just pull off the flower petals or pull the head off of the flower, you're still dealing with the root of the anger. I like to use that, that imagery for describing this. So there's many different emotions that can live underneath the anger. Some of them would be disappointment, embarrassment, fear, sadness, stress. Okay, those are the main ones. When we are able to be honest about how we're feeling, we're able to connect with that emotion, breathe into it, kind of identify where it is in the body. I think that's so important. You know, maybe you're feeling sadness. And when you tune into your body, you close your eyes, take a few deep breaths to regulate your nervous system. And you notice there's some pain in your chest. There's some pain in your heart. That's where the sadness is living. So you bring your hands over your heart and just take a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I do that 5 to 10 times. Really breathing into that area of your body that's feeling the sadness. So you can use your breath to show your body, one, that you're safe, right? When we practice deep breathing, breathing from the belly or the diaphragm, as opposed to breathing from the chest, which is shallow breathing, we're activating our parasympathetic nervous system. We're allowing our central nervous system to calm down, okay? Because you're toning the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is key to calming our central nervous system and showing ourselves that we're safe. And you're giving yourself permission to be with that sadness, right? A lot of the times we don't give ourselves permission to be with these emotions because we haven't been taught that it's safe to be with them, right? Usually a lot of the lower vibrational emotions that we'll experience, including fear, sadness, embarrassment, disappointment, stress, anger. Actually, anger is more in the middle of the vibration of emotions. We avoid them. We numb, we detach, we ignore. We don't want to do that because that's when the anger festers. That's when the anger gets stuck in the body. That's when the anger turns to rage or irresponsible behaviors of acting out. So this is really important. So I want you to write in your notebook that you're going to make a promise to yourself, and you're going to write, I promise that next time I'm feeling angry, I will tune into my body and I will see what is underneath the anger. Maybe you're angry because your partner didn't, unload the dishwasher and clean up the kitchen after you made dinner together. And that was like your partner's job for the evening. So maybe you're feeling angry. What you actually are feeling is disappointment, right? You're disappointed your partner didn't stick to their word. You're disappointed that they didn't do what they promised that they were going to do. And so that will show up as anger before it shows up as disappointment, right? And so if you give yourself permission to take a step back and just be with it and breathe into your body and see where that is and breathe into that emotion and let your body know you're safe, then you're going to understand, okay, this is disappointment. And you're going to feel a little bit more self-aware and have a better understanding when you go talk to your partner about why you were disappointed, as opposed to not doing that and then going into full-blown reaction mode and going and yelling at your partner for not doing what they did, right? And then taking all that anger out on them, and that's going to cause them to get defensive and cause them to probably get angry. So you see why it's so important that we take time to regulate, so we have that awareness. Now, this is one of my favorites. It's to create a serenity toolkit. And I probably have mentioned this before in other sessions because I think it's so powerful. And I do this with my clients as well. You can call this anything. I just think serenity is such a beautiful word to describe like the feelings that we are trying to come back to get out of, not ignore the anger, right? As we just talked about, we would first make sure we're tuning into the body and becoming aware of what's going on. But then having this serenity toolkit to continue to show yourself that you are safe. So this is your go-to when you're feeling overwhelmed with anger or any emotions that live underneath it: disappointment, stress, sadness, embarrassment, whatever, right? So the purpose of your serenity toolkit is to help you relax and unwind from anything that has triggered you into feeling angry or any of the other emotions that come along with it. when you create your serenity toolkit, which we could also, I just accidentally said sensory toolkit, we could also call it that, because I am prompting you to include items that activate your 5 senses, which would be, of course, sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. So these are just some examples. This is what I keep in my serenity toolkit. And as you probably can imagine, this isn't a physical toolkit, right? It's like an imaginary one, but you can write in your journal right now. Actually, I would like you to do this. I would like you to write serenity toolkit, and then I would like you to write sight, sound, smell, touch, taste. Okay. And then I want you to write beside sight what you're going to include in your serenity toolkit that helps to calm you down. So I like to use a photo, and I have a few photos that I go to. There's a photo of my partner and I kayaking. That's something we love to do. I have a photo of one of my trips when I was in Europe, and it was just a place that made me really happy. Anything like that. Okay. It doesn't necessarily have to be a photo. It could be making sure you go outside and you take a look around, you look at the sky, you look at the clouds, maybe you look at a tree, a flower that you love. Could be a picture of your favorite flower, anything like that. For sound, I would suggest some calming music or some guided meditations. I love sound baths. I think they're amazing. You can find playlists on Spotify or Apple Music, and they're really calming. You could listen to a guided meditation, right? There's so many on YouTube. You could reach out to me. I have lots of guided meditations for purchase, and soon they'll be on my YouTube channel. And then, of course, today we're actually going to be ending with a gratitude meditation. So you can always come back to this video and listen to the last 10 minutes of it, which will be the gratitude meditation. Smell, whatever works for you. I like to use essential oils or a scented lotion. Often I use lavender essential oil. I actually have some right here. Lavender is known to help us relax and calm down. So that's something that I like to use when I'm in those states. Or I also have this other little blend that I made, and it has eucalyptus, sweet orange, and rosemary, which are all really uplifting scents. So I like to use that on a daily basis, but when I'm also kind of feeling triggered. But you can use a scented lotion if essential oils aren't your thing, maybe a candle, maybe burn some incense. I have a little bundle of cedar here that I find helps me as well. So there's lots of options. For touch, you could do a blanket. You could do, like a fuzzy blanket that makes you feel calm. Maybe it's your pet. Maybe it's cuddling with your pet, your cat, your dog. Maybe it's a sweater that really keeps you, makes you feel really safe. You got to figure out what's best for you. And then taste, which would be, I like to say, like a little snack. And so something that I will say is eating root vegetables is a really wonderful taste to use to ground yourself and to calm your anger. Because when we eat root vegetables, we're actually working to harmonize our root chakra, Muladhara. And if you're wondering what the heck a root chakra is or what Muladhara is Sanskrit for root chakra. And actually, if you go back to Hope for Stomach Cancer's website, I do have a whole workshop called Exploring Chakra Healing. And that goes into all the 7 main chakras and gives you an idea of what the chakras are. They're, energy system that lives within our body. It's based in Hinduism, Buddhism, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, all work with the chakras. So I'm not going to spend time talking about it today, but if you're interested, that is an hour-long workshop, and it's super informative and really, really eye-opening. So I highly suggest when you have the time to go back and watch that. Okay, so now we just talked about stress management. Now we're going to talk about ways to cope with anger. So the stress management is managing the anger, before, during, and after, okay? When we're working to cope with anger, we're kind of working more in the moment. That being said, all of the things I shared for stress management can be used in the moment. So they kind of go interchangeably, if we're being really honest. Okay, so the first would be counting down from 10. This sounds really simple, and it is. It gives your mind a chance to focus on something else while you let your heart rate settle. I always like to do this with my hands over my heart. Okay, you're going to hear me do this a lot, say this a lot. I'm going to prompt it a lot. When we bring our hands over our heart, We're signaling to our central nervous system that we're safe. We're signaling to our body that we're safe. And actually, when you bring your hands over your heart, it's like you're giving your heart a hug. Because when we do this action of bringing our hands over our heart, the same chemicals that fire off in our brain when we receive a hug from somebody is the same thing that happens like this. So that's why I like to say it's like giving your heart a hug. So yeah, you'd close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. And honestly, what I like to do, instead of counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because you can go through that so fast, I use my breath to count me down. Take a breath, 10, take a breath, 9, take a breath, 8, and so forth. Another good one is relaxing your muscles. So what you do is you practice slowly tensing and then releasing different muscles throughout your body as you're breathing. And you're tuning into each muscle group. And I always say, start with your feet and then work up. So you clench your toes for a breath, release. Clench your whole feet, release. Clench your calves, release. Clench your thighs, release. And then work your way up, right? And you can do that over, a couple minutes. It doesn't take very long. But again, it's giving your body a chance to, you're signaling to your body that you're safe, and you're also signaling to your mind to focus on something else, okay? Another big one is repeating positive affirmations. I wouldn't go straight to positive affirmations. I would first count down from 10 and then do the relax your muscles and then the positive affirmations. Because again, the mind is part of the body. So we can't just heal the mind without healing the body. Okay. So when you've practiced counting down from 10, using your slow, deep belly breaths, then you've relaxed your muscles going through from your feet all the way to your head. And then I actually like to go back down from my head to my feet. So that takes about 2 to 3 minutes. You've signaled to your body you're safe, so that when you start to repeat those positive affirmations, you're actually going to take them in, as opposed to if you don't do those other things to regulate your body, speaking those positive affirmations to yourself isn't going to do much at all, if I'm being completely honest. That is why it's so imperative that we calm our nervous system down first. So we're going to go through some positive affirmations together before we do our meditation. And I'm going to get you to write down 3 to 5 that really resonate with you. And of course, you can come up with your own, but some that help you calm down in the moment, or at least have helped me and have helped my clients, is I am relaxed, I am safe, and all is well. I am relaxed, I am safe, and all is well. And again, you see why you want to calm your body down before speaking these to yourself, because if you are still very activated and you're still have those stress hormones raging through your body, you're not really going to feel I am relaxed, I am safe and well, right? So that's why it's really important to do the countdown from 10 with your breath and do the release and relax your muscles. Some other things you can do to cope in the moment is write in your journal. Maybe you don't have your journal handy, but you have a piece of paper and pen. And I always like to suggest actually writing this, not typing it on your phone or on your computer. Write it down, okay? Whoever made you angry, maybe it was yourself, maybe it was a situation, maybe it was another person, we don't know. But whatever made you angry, write it down in your journal and process it through written word. Okay, this is a really wonderful way for you to calm down and then reassess your feelings. And I just want to go back and I want to reiterate that the way that I'm sharing this is a really step by step. Okay, you don't need to do all of these things, but you're always going to want to start with counting down from 10 and breathing, and then relaxing your muscles, and then maybe saying positive affirmations or writing in your journal. Okay. You want to let your body know you are safe first and foremost. Now we'll repeat that again and again and again, because it's so important. If you can, talk to a trusted friend, okay? This is called co-regulation. If you can't talk to a trusted friend, talk to your therapist, talk to your psychiatrist, talk to your psychologist, talk to your healer, talk to your coach, talk to someone who can co-regulate with you. And of course, if it is a friend, if it's not a professional, please ask your friend or your partner or your loved one, whoever, if they have the space to chat about it, okay? Because sometimes when we're really angry or we're going through a situation that's causing us distressing feelings, because we're so distressed and we just want someone to hold space for us, we forget that maybe that person might not be in the space to hold space, because we're all going through our own individual journeys. Maybe your friend is also angry and activated. So if they are angry and activated and you don't ask them first if they can hold space for you, and you go in and share all this stuff about what made you angry, maybe that triggers them, and then they start to share with you what made them angry, and then you're both just like extremely activated and not actually helping each other co-regulate and calm down. So if your loved one, your friend, your partner, whoever does have that space, then wonderful, open up to them with what's going on. And this isn't to help you come up with a solution. This is to give you a safe space to release, so you're not holding on to all of that yourself, right? Of course, if you're talking to a therapist or a psychologist, psychiatrist, healer, coach, these are professionals and they will help you come up with action steps, right? But of course, what we're sharing today, or what I'm sharing today, I should say, with these coping mechanisms and with the stress management tools, these are all actionable steps. Another really great one is to write a letter. So you would be writing the letter to the specific person who made you angry, and you're not giving them the letter. Okay, you're not giving them the letter. You're not putting it in the mail. You're not handing it to them the next day at work. You are writing this for you. Okay, because it gives you a chance to say what you're feeling without ever actually having to say that to that person. Because sometimes what we're feeling, this anger, like we want to say some really mean things, and your anger is valid. So you deserve to say what you need to say without jeopardizing a relationship. Okay, so when you write this letter, give yourself space, give yourself time, take some deep breaths, right? Regulate in the ways that I already shared, and then make sure you're in a quiet, uninterrupted place to write this letter. And once you've written it, I always suggest burning it. Okay, obviously burn it in a safe place. Maybe that means you have to go outside and have a cup of water nearby, right? Maybe do it in your bathroom sink or your kitchen sink. But this really allows you to release that energy from your auric field, to release that energy from your energetic being. Excuse me. So that's why I always suggest burning it if that feels comfortable. You can also rip it up, throw it in the garbage. That's an easy one too if you don't feel comfortable burning it. And then, of course, as we get further into these coping mechanisms, we're kind of like, again, like these are gradual. So you don't have to do them step by step, but I really do think that doing them step by step is like the most powerful practice. So that would mean that these were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So the next would be practicing gratitude. So even though you may have had the situation that's made you extremely angry, that's caused you distressing emotions, that's caused you to have any of the emotions that live underneath the anger show up, allowing yourself to express gratitude for all the other awesome, amazing things that are going on in your life really helps neutralize the anger and helps to remind your mind that this isn't the only thing that's going on, right? So maybe after you've written that letter, to that person, got it all out, burned it, ripped it up, whatever. In your journal, you write down 5 to 10 things you're grateful for, just to allow your energetic vibration to come back up, right? So you're still not sitting in that anger. The next one would be practicing empathy. And this one can be difficult in the moment, which is why I suggest going in order, because you would have had technically just practiced gratitude. So then it gives you a chance to practice empathy. So when we're being empathetic, we're really trying to view the situation that made you angry from the other person's perspective, kind of like walking in their shoes, right? Can be difficult, right? I'm not going to invalidate that this can be really difficult depending on the situation. But it helps to give you a new perspective and a better understanding of where they're coming from. And again, maybe that increases your gratitude for yourself, for maybe this person is having a really difficult time at home. So when they came to the office and you asked them where the report was and then freaked out on you and said some things that were kind of hurtful, you can recognize, okay, I know so-and-so is having a hard time at home. Maybe they're going through a divorce. Maybe something's happening with their kids, right? That's not to validate what they did, because it's still unacceptable for people to take their anger out on you. But it helps you understand, okay, maybe they came in a really activated state, and me asking for that report just blew the top off kind of thing. And of course, again, when we practice empathy, we're not validating people's poor behavior. We're just trying to understand where they were coming from. And then one of my favorites is practicing creative self-regulation. So that can be so many different things, but that actually allows us to put our anger into something positive. And so I just wrote down some of my favorites, but you will know yours, of course. So cooking is a form of creative self-regulation. Maybe you don't like to cook, but you like to bake. There's one. Gardening, painting, writing poetry, movement like dance, singing, spoken word, just writing in general is considered creative self-regulation. And when it comes to like painting and drawing and creating art as a form of creative self-regulation, it's not, the purpose isn't to create something beautiful. The purpose isn't to become an artist, okay? The purpose is for you to use creativity as a way to self-regulate, right? And if you are interested in therapeutic art, we did an amazing therapeutic art workshop about a month and a bit ago, and you can find that on the Hope for Stomach Cancer website as well. It's an hour long. You learn and understand what creative self-regulation is, how art heals. We do a meditation together, and then we do a couple of exercises that are all based around therapeutic art. And I am trained as a therapeutic art life coach and in focus-centered art therapy. So, these things are very near and dear to my heart. So that was a really fun workshop to do. And so I highly suggest going back and watching that if you're interested in learning more about creative self-regulation. Okay, so we are going to get into our positive affirmations now. I want you to just read these. I'm going to read these through. Sorry, you can read them as well as I go, but I want you to just, anyone that jumps out at you, could be one, could be two, could be three, could be five, could be all of them. But the ones that really jump out at you, those are the ones I want you to write in your journal. And those are the ones that you are going to put in your Serenity Toolkit. Okay. So I attract loving and caring people into my life. Every action I take carries the energy of love. I grow and become a better version of myself every day. I have everything I need to succeed. I appreciate the lessons that life has taught me. I believe in myself and my power. I treat myself and others with respect. And here's some more. I have the courage to create positive change in my life. Every challenge I face is an opportunity to grow and heal. I take care of my body and my body takes care of me. I am grateful for all of the things that I can do. I prioritize the things that make me feel calm. I release all tension from my body and my mind. I am calm and relaxed in all situations. So, whatever one's called out to you, write those in your journal and then add them to your Serenity Toolkit. And so I know I had you write your Serenity Toolkit down in your journal just to start. If you need to create a little note in your phone or on your computer, just so you have these with you at all time, because you might not have your journal with you at all time, then definitely do that. It's going to be super helpful. Okay, so let's go over these journal prompts together, and then we're going to do our meditation, since we are coming up to about 20-ish minutes left, and our meditation is about 10 to 15 minutes. So I want to make sure that we have enough time. So journal prompts for releasing anger. So remember I had you reflect on a situation recently that currently made you, or recently made you angry, triggered you, caused those emotions to come up. I want you to bring that back to your mind's eye. And again, this was something that happened recently. It could be today, it could have been a couple days ago, could have been a week ago, whatever first popped into your mind when I asked you to reflect on that. And then I want you to ask yourself, how important is this in the grand scheme of things? Will this matter in 5 years? Will this matter in 1 year? Will this matter in 6 months? Will this matter in 3 months? Will this matter next week? will this matter tomorrow? Okay, I like to kind of go backwards like that because, of course, will it matter in 5 years? No. The answer is always no. Will it matter in 3, 1, whatever? And usually we get down to it and then we realize this probably won't even matter tomorrow, right? Unless it's something that's very activating and that didn't get solved, right? Maybe that was like we talked about with the stress management of needing to take a step away. That can happen, right? So maybe, yeah, you haven't resolved it. Maybe it is still important over the next couple of days or a week because you still have to address it and have that conversation with the person. But this really does help you give yourself a timeline to realize like this isn't going to last forever, right? The importance of this isn't going to last forever. And that's really imperative for calming ourselves down and working through the anger. So moving on to the next question would be, is this really worth getting angry about? Is it really worth it? Again, come back to, will it matter in 5 years? Will it matter in 3 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, next week, tomorrow? Because most of the time, it's not necessarily worth getting angry about, but it's worth understanding the emotions that lie beneath the anger. Okay, so I want you to really understand that I'm not saying this to discredit the situation that made you angry, but sometimes the anger isn't worth it. But the disappointment is worth it because the disappointment has something to teach us, or the sadness, or the stress, or the embarrassment, right? That's why I really wanted to touch on earlier that anger is a mask emotion. Anger is the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much underneath. Anger is the flower. We got to get to the root. I have so many different analogies for it. And then, of course, your next question ties into what I was just saying. Are there any emotions underneath the anger that want to be processed? Yes, there always is, right? So tuning into those emotions and seeing where they live in the body, giving yourself a chance to breathe into them. And then whether you're self-regulating through creative self-regulation, through writing that letter, through writing in your journal, co-regulating with a trusted friend, partner, loved one, professional, that's going to help you really understand and process those emotions that are living underneath the anger. So think again, you have like reflecting on that recent situation that made you angry. What were the emotions that lied underneath the anger? And then asking yourself again, you'll see this is a repeated question, is being angry about this really worth it? Is being angry about this really worth it? At this point, maybe not, because you're starting to understand the other emotions that need to be processed. And that is the key to releasing that anger, right? So maybe you don't feel the anger anymore. Maybe then you're giving yourself permission to feel the sadness or to feel the disappointment or feel the fear. That's so important. We are meant to feel the full spectrum of emotions as human beings. We're not meant to deny them, even though we might have been taught again in childhood. That's where a lot of it starts, right? That we're not allowed to feel fear or angry, or we don't have the right to feel disappointed because we have all these amazing things. Well, like we're human, we're going to feel all these things. So it's a really important to continue to ask yourself that. The next would be, is my response to the situation appropriate? That example that I shared about, you and your partner made a dinner, left the kitchen really messy. Maybe if you're like me, you like things to be cleaned up right away. And if you're like my partner, you wait until whenever to clean things up. So I'm actually using a personal situation here to share with you, to give you an idea. So this is something that happened with me 3 weeks ago, I think. And usually, my partner and I have different levels of cleanliness. I'm definitely a little bit more, specific, to use a better word than I was thinking. And I often am cleaning up after him, the next day. I go to bed early, he stays up late. And sometimes I'm the one cleaning up the next day. Usually it doesn't bother me. I was so bothered one day, got so angry about it that I freaked out on him, right? Like he had just woken up. It was, 10 in the morning or something. And he'd woken up a lot later than me because he works later than me. And immediately I went to him and I got angry about him not, you never pick up after yourself. I'm always picking up after you. You don't care about how the cleanliness of our house. Like I was just going off. And I didn't give myself a chance to regulate before I went to talk to him about it. I didn't give myself a chance to sit and realize I just feel a little disappointed because I feel like I'm the one who's constantly cleaning up our house, right? It doesn't feel fair, and that we're not putting in the same effort. And that was disappointing me that he wasn't putting in that effort. So, of course, instead of going to him and speaking about it with that clear understanding and self-awareness around the disappointment, which I know would reciprocate and understand and, apologize, and we'd move forward, I went in guns blazing, and it caused him to get angry. And he felt triggered, he felt activated, and then it snowballed, I should say, into a whole unnecessary argument. So if I was reflecting for myself on that one, no, my response to the situation was not appropriate. But hey, I'm sitting here laughing a bit about it because I have done the self-reflection, and I have that awareness that, there's been a couple times since where I felt that way, and I let myself regulate and process that emotion underneath the anger. So when I did have the conversation with him, it was really supportive. And the next question would be, is there anything I can do to process my anger in this moment? We have a whole list. We just went through stress management tools and ways to cope with your anger. So there's so many different things you can do to process your anger in the moment. So maybe you didn't have those tools when we're in that moment that you're reflecting on right now, but now you have the tools. So going forward, or maybe some of the tools, the coping mechanisms and the management skills are things you already knew, but you just were so heightened in your anger that it didn't occur to you to do those things at that time. Now, going forward, you can. And then lastly, asking yourself, how can you take action to release the anger you're feeling? And again, that's similar to the different coping mechanisms. I would say the action steps would be also to a little bit more of the writing the letter and burning it, the creative self-regulation, the gratitude, the empathy, the moving your body, going for a walk, those kinds of things to really release the anger. Okay, so there we go. That was a lot. I know there's a lot of information, but really important information when it comes to coping with anger. That's why I wanted to share, what the symptoms are of anger, how, reflect on how they show up for you, different anger management tools, different ways to cope with anger in the moment. And again, coming back to that step-by-step process. And of course, your Serenity Toolkit, which I think is one of the most powerful things we can have for ourselves. And just to note, the Serenity Toolkit can be used for more than just when you're feeling angry. It can be used for stress, anxiety, sadness, fear, disappointment, embarrassment, all the things that live underneath anger. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can just pull up my music because it won't let me do both at once. Okay, so I want you to get comfortable, maybe shake out your body, shake off your arms, shake your hands, do some horse lips. Just release any stuck energy from the body. And then come to stillness. You can do this meditation seated or lying down, whatever feels best for you. But wherever you are, whether you're seated or you're lying down, I want you to use your next few breaths to get comfortable. And if it feels safe to do so, you can gently close your eyes. And if it doesn't feel safe to close your eyes today, that is okay. Just bring them to a soft gaze in front of your nose. As you begin to become conscious of your breath, tuning into your inhales and your exhales, just notice how they feel in your body. Not forcing, not pushing, just noticing how your breath feels in this moment. Notice your body making contact with your chair, your bed, the ground, whatever surface you're on. Notice the rise and fall of your belly as you breathe. Notice your arms and your legs, just resting. We're going to do a few soothing breaths together. So breathing in through the nose, opening the mouth, and sighing out on the exhale. 2 more, just like that. Beautiful. Now just allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm, in through the nose and out through the nose. But know if you need to take those beautiful sighs out the mouth on your exhale, you're more than welcome to do so. Staying connected with your breath. Your breath is your anchor. Your breath is your guide. And on your next inhale, begin to feel a deep sense of gratitude about the things, the people, the privileges in your life. You may feel grateful for something you have, like your home, your bed, maybe a person, maybe your pet. Just allow these things to arrive in your mind's eye. Seeing what you are grateful for clearly, and inhaling these people, these things, these animals deep into your mind's eye. And on your exhale, whispering to yourself, thank you. Begin to become grateful for yourself, your health, your wisdom, your kindness. Be grateful for those times when you stood up for yourself or when you stood up for someone else. Be grateful for your ability to love yourself and as a result, to love others. On your next inhale, imagine you are giving yourself the biggest, most adoring hug. And maybe you want to wrap your arms around your body in this moment, giving yourself a hug in this present moment. And on your exhale, whispering to yourself, thank you. You can continue to hug yourself, or you can let that go. Maybe bringing your hands over your heart, giving your heart a hug. And just becoming aware of the little things in your life that bring you joy. The sunshine on your face, the smell of a grass after a thunderstorm, the way your best friend laughs, a warm cup of tea. Whatever the little things are to you, allow them to arrive in your mind's eye. Breathing in, feeling grateful for these little things, remembering that even the small things have importance. Exhaling and whispering to yourself, thank you. As you take your next breath, feel how lovely it is to breathe freely. Be grateful for your breath, bringing you life. And exhaling, letting your breath just fall away and feel your body sinking deeper into a state of relaxation. Now bringing your attention to the world around you and feeling even more gratitude. The beauty of gratitude is the more you feel it, the more it expands and grows. When we express gratitude, we're able to live in the present moment without obsession. We're able to recognize ourselves as we are naturally, not as we think we should be or the expectation of someone or something. Just being thankful for who we truly are. Because the truth is, we can truly enjoy the things we have, and we don't need anything more. We have everything we need to make our time here on earth within us. Be grateful for your existence because you are here, you are present, and you are everything that the world needs. Breathing in and beginning to derive pleasure from all of your senses. Bringing to your mind's eye whatever swells your heart with love. When was the last time you felt goosebumps over a beautiful moment? Focus on this moment. Focus on the sounds, sights, the smells, the feelings. Feel the tingle on your skin. That is the uncontrollable response to being in the presence of love and gratitude. Residing in this moment of love and gratitude for your next 3 breaths. On your next inhale, feel the beauty of this feeling growing inside. As you exhale, allow these things to grow so large that they force out anything that takes your energy or threatens the brilliance of your spirit. And then bringing all of your awareness back to your heart, remembering that the love that you carry for all of these things is always with you in your heart. As you continue to breathe, recognize the strength that focusing on these things brings you. Imagine this strength building inside like a beam of light, and the light is intensifying to the maximum degree. And when you breathe out, you recharge and you relax. Allow this brightness to build with every breath. See yourself twinkling like a star. And then hear yourself saying these following words with conviction in your mind's eye. I am grateful for this moment. I am grateful I chose to take time to express gratitude. I embrace each day with gratitude because I know I am manifesting my dreams and desires. Every day, I begin to become more mindful of the small blessings to be thankful for. I am so grateful for the ability to create the reality I love. Each day, I am grateful for the beauty of life, the bitter and sweet, the accomplishments and the lessons. I am grateful for the privileges that I have been blessed with. I am grateful for my family and my friends. And giving thanks right now to anything and everything you can possibly think of. Doing your best to find time in your day, every day, whether it is 1 minute or several, to fully express feelings of gratitude. When we do this, we not only increase prosperity for ourselves, but for the world. I hope you're able to go about your day with a bit more gratitude. Gently bringing your awareness back to the present moment, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, bringing your hands to prayer in front of your heart center and bowing your head if that feels comfortable. The divine light in me honors the divine light in each and every one of you. Namaste. You can slowly open your eyes. There's no rush. Take your time coming back. Thank you so much for watching this amazing Coping with Anger workshop. I hope that you're able to leave with some really amazing actionable steps, some really awesome ways to cope, and of course, that this gratitude meditation helped bring you to a little bit more of a state of peace and calm. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you soon.